Tattoo Collectibles. I'm Eric, and hopefully your week is going great. Mine's been going great. So we're going to tell you a little bit today about Bernard Kobel and why he's so instrumental in the documenting of the history of tattooing. Here's a little video and some stuff that you might not know about Bernard Kobel. Check this out. Born December 19, 1906 in Hammond, Louisiana, his father, William H. Kobel, worked as a farmer and a carpenter. The family moved from Louisiana to Frankfort, Indiana, and in 1914 opened a family photography studio, according to a 1914 billboard. By the late 1930s, Bernard had worked his way into the family business, which at the time became known as W. H. Kobel and Son. Bernard brought a youthful energy to the business and started taking photos and making them available to newspapers and magazines. At this time, photos were sent over the phone and were known as wire photos. The Kobel family made the move from Indiana to Clearwater, Florida in 1955, where they ran their photo business from their home, much like they had in Indiana. It was here in 1960 that Grace, his mother, had died, with his father William following in 1963. Bernard carried on the family business after the deaths of his parents and grew the business quite a bit with the addition of his mail order catalogs in publications such as Billboard, Travel and Camera, Bandwagon, as well as other men's magazines. At one time, having as many as 10 catalogs with subjects ranging from unusual epitaphs, circus freaks, wrestling women, and tattooed people, just to name a few. The most successful by far being the tattoo catalog. In 1972, Kobel started to talk about his health as the reason for his semi-retirement. He said that his diabetes had sapped his enthusiasm for hunting down new images, and as Cindy Ray had left the business and Milt Zeiss had died, left him with few places to get new photos, both of these being his main suppliers. Soon after, Kobel had started to sell off his collection's negatives. Spider Webb, a famous tattoo artist, upon hearing this, contacted Kobel at his home in Clearwater, Florida, and offered to buy all of the tattoo negatives. Spider remembers the price being $5,000, to which he said, "Yes, I will take them," and the deal was done. Spider received a knapsack full of negatives, and in 1976, he and McGraw-Hill produced the book Heavily Tattooed Men and Women, using the photos he had purchased. In 2002, Schiffer Publishing reprinted this book. Kobel died August 1st, 1985 in Clearwater, Florida. Despite being a photographer his entire life, no known pictures exist of him. He had set out to earn a living photographing the underbelly of society and accidentally became one of the greatest historians of the tattoo industry. All right, so now that you've been caught up on who the man is and what the man does, I've got a few items here today that I wanted to talk about. The first couple still available. We got them from the book mistress, from the Tattoo Archive, and I showed this one on What's in the Mail. This is the Life and Times of Bernard Kobel. It has a ton of information in it about him and his life. Some things that kind of surprised me in it. The fact that when he died, all he had in his bank account was $394. After all of this history collected and 50 some odd years of selling his photos and then finally selling all of his catalog negatives, the man died almost broke. It's really sad. It's really kind of sad. This is also still available. This is the what I call the Kobel Bible. It's a revised version of his catalog. It has when you get one of his photos, on the back of them there'll be a number, a handwritten number in pencil. If there's not a handwritten number in pencil, then chances are you got a fake. But the handwritten numbers on the back of them all start with a T. Now, if you got one that has a different letter on it, again, it's probably not an authentic Kobel. But if you get one and it's got a T1705 on the back of it, you can go to this book, look up T1705. It says first number is a front 3/4 view of Cindy Ray in white fur coat. It gives you descriptions of who they are, what it is, and basically this was his catalog that he would send you to order these photos for like a dime a piece back in the day. This is the catalog that you would actually order them from him. Now it serves as a checklist that you can go down, and every time you get one, you can put a little star next to it. And once you have all 1,700 of them, then you will have the most complete collection of Kobels going. Now, I got this little book not too long ago from a really great seller. It's from 1973, from January 1973. It was one of the first tattoo magazines ever made. And it's basically just a book filled with Kobel photos and little stories that go along with them. The stories are awesome. When you come across something like this, snap it up. I got this one off of eBay where I get a ton of my stuff. Sooner or later, we're going to travel to get some of this stuff. We just we haven't contacted anybody to do that yet. But this one came off eBay. It was $100, which I thought was pretty stiff for a magazine until I got it and looked through it. And then I was like, wow, I probably should have paid more for this. This one's in mint condition. It's got some wear use, a little bit of dog-eared corners here and there. Something this old and not meant to like be archival. It's in excellent shape for that. And that's what you want to check on these. Ask as many questions before you buy as you think you need to. I love it. I think it's awesome. It was a welcomed addition to our Kobel family. So whenever you see something with Kobel on it, ask some questions, find out as much as you can about the item itself, just like anything else. But those range from about 100 and up. A lot of people that have them will not get rid of them. So when you do see something like that, like I always say, the time to buy is when you see it, not when you want it. Now, these are some of my prized possessions. These are my Kobel photos. This one is, both of these came from Chuck Eldridge. He is an awesome source for these. And this one is actually Marion Tyler, tattooed by Les Goose in the 1950s. The photo's in excellent condition. I love this photo. And when I got it, he sent me a little postcard with Les Goose on it. I don't have any Les Goose stuff. That's really hard to come by. This is another one. I haven't looked this one up, but I got this one at the Hell City convention. I also bought this one from Chuck Eldridge. He tends to be the source for Kobel here as of late. Now this is a rare one. This is a 1969 Kobel of Lyle Tuttle. If you find one of these, buy it. It's super rare, and now that we lost Tuttle in March, now that he's gone, you're not going to see these up for sale as much as you once did. The regular Kobels, the two common Kobels that I have here, they're worth between $50 and $200, depending on their condition, depending on the seller. The Tuttle, I would say, is worth between $250 and $500. You're not going to see a bunch of these out there. If you do, and it is under $300, buy it. If not, give me a call. I will buy it. A couple more great collectibles to show you here from the Kobel collection. This one is from my buddy Chicago Justin. This is in his private collection. This is Elizabeth Wurtzel. Her husband was a doctor in the 1950s and wanted her to be a heavily tattooed lady. So she started going to Burt Grimm, and as you can tell by the signature right above her rose on her back, which I think is priceless, she started going to Burt Grimm and got covered front and back to please her husband. She also ended up becoming one of the most famous women in tattooing for a little bit of history. And this one is from the Ross Wagers collection. You can get in touch with him at the address below with his Instagram. This one is a nice one by Stan Davies from the 1960s. The work on it is gorgeous. And if you look through the Kobel catalog, you'll actually see pictures of this one. This is a really nice one to have. And this one is, Chuck always asks you when you go to order them, do you want historic or do you want T&A? So I tend to get a little bit of both. Now this one is of a lady from the 1950s, and it's a little risque. It's got a little hanging out, which with Kobel, some of his collectors, this is what they were after. They were after scantily clad women who happened to have tattoos on them. Back in the time when, in the 30s and 40s, when Kobel first started to do these, obscenity laws were unimaginable from today's standards. If you were caught mailing nude pictures of women, especially any that showed anything from the waist down, was considered obscene. If you were caught doing that, that was a federal felony at the time. There are letters in the life and time of Kobel that he wrote other people and was like, I assure you these are safe to send through the mail and you will not be accosted by the postmaster or the police for getting my photos in your mailbox. He was very adamant about that, and which I always, today you don't think about things like that. You see so much on the internet that is just, everything is there. Back then, you had to seek things like that out. And this actually all started as, for Kobel, as a way to make a dollar off of that. He was like the first internet porn site, if you will, without the internet. He did all mail order. It was all through men's magazines, and a lot of them through like Billboard and Travel and Camera. But for the most part, they were through men's magazines, and they would sell these scantily clothed women to men. That was his biggest collectors. Now, he didn't set out to be a tattoo historian. He set out to photograph the seedy underbelly, kind of like Toulouse-Lautrec used to paint, like kind of in the seedier parts of France. This is our Toulouse-Lautrec from our industry, and this is why I collect him. I love the fact that all these photos survived all these years. So, as mentioned in the small insert in this is Heavily Tattooed Men and Women by Spiderweb. This is an awesome book. If you can find the original by McGraw-Hill, it's worth between $50 and $100. If you get one of the Schiffer 2002 repops of it, they're worth about $20 to $30. They contain the same thing, so if you just wanted to see the stuff that's in it, then definitely buy one of the reissues. You won't be unhappy. The pictures that are in it are great. But if you can find one of these original Spiderweb ones, snap this up, because these are rapidly becoming harder and harder to find. And that's all we have today. Hopefully you enjoyed the Lyle Kobel episode. Hopefully you're leaving with a little bit more knowledge than you once had about him. And if you didn't know about him at all and you are in this industry, definitely start your own collection. These are pretty easy to come by. Some of them are a little harder than others, but if you can get them, get them. They look great in your shop. They look great in your booth. Now, in October, we're going to an event in Winston-Salem that the Tattoo Archive is throwing. It's called the first meeting of the Tattoo Historical Society. Tons of this will be available there. If you're anywhere near Winston-Salem, October 12th, definitely check it out. If you want any of the info, it's on our Instagram page at Tattoo Collectibles for sale. Be sure and stop by there. Hit us with a follow on there. That'd be great. Hit us with a subscribe and a like on our video here today. We always appreciate that. We just hit 50 subscribers, which I know isn't very much, but it thrilled us here at Tattoo Collectibles. So keep those subscriptions coming. Don't be afraid to share these videos with your buddies. And everybody have a great day. And sometime this week, you'll be seeing another in the mail. We have a ton of mail to go through again this week. You're going to love what's in there. And one thing in there is going to be given away. And we'll get to that in the mail. I don't want to get too ahead of myself with that yet. hopefully everybody enjoyed it this week. We'll see you next week, and until then, keep collecting.